Okay.
I authorized him to be in the server.
Oh, okay. Is that
I, I don't know why that mattered.
I don't know. I have no idea.
But now Craig is present, and
Craig
um,
is present.
Craig is present.
Why do they have to give him such a, what do the kids call it? Himbo? Himbo name?
Right? Yeah. No, and he's like, it's not even like a good graphic.
Hello, everyone. This is Nanopod, episode 1. I am Crystal.
I'm Kirsten.
Um, we are a podcast dedicated to the fantastic manga writing of Aya Yazawa, and we are going to dissect this manga, discussing everything from the emotions, the cultural impact, as well as any headcanons that might be floating around in our brains. With this podcast, we hope to preserve a shoujo staple that sadly has not been talked about in a very long time. So we are here in apartment 707 to discuss chapter 1 of book 1 of Nana.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I guess we can just dive into it, I suppose.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I have notes, but I also gave up on taking notes. So
I mean, I also have notes in there. They're also like they're super quick notes too.
right, exactly. Yeah. Well, and like rereading it after so many years
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to sensationally feel the way that I felt before is really interesting because obviously there's such a perspective shift now
For sure, of course.
looking at everything. So the chapter itself starts out page 1 with what you will come to know as a classic flashback. And in chapter 1, we get introduced to Nanake, or Hatchi, or Hachiko, as
Mhm.
she's called later on when she gets deemed as a pet.
Yes.
And she introduces herself, and that she lives in a mountain town, and she is the middle daughter of
Mhm.
3 girls, and that she grew up middle class essentially, kind of
Mhm.
like not quite a farming town, but like June's from a farming town, but Nana's more from like the inner city ship.
Mhm.
And she's in high school getting ready to graduate.
Mhm.
She
Like,
describes herself as average.
oh, average.
Hmm.
Which is, I mean, to me, that just feels very Hachi, because
Hmm.
I mean, when we first start this out, she is probably the most insecure
Yes.
that she will, but she progresses. I guess what,
I mean, kind of, I would say sort of progresses. I would say, like, as we'll come to know, the insecurity is also within the standing of like where she's at socially, and that she's relatively sheltered.
True. Like,
And we can see that just like coming into the next page. The next
yeah.
page, uh, it's her sitting in a car with a man in a suit who obviously is older.
Hmm.
And he is explaining to her that he's moving to Tokyo.
Hmm.
And so she has a look on her face of shock.
Yeah. Right.
My notes say old man goes to Tokyo.
Oh,
Well, and that is something prolific that you see within like a lot of manga, a lot of aspects within Japanese culture is also like that age demographic difference. I mean, but we also see that in other arcs, even like Lore Olympus, we see that big age gap. And I believe though, what's interesting because I believe she's 17 here when she is seeing this man.
hmm.
Maybe 16. I think 17. And something though to consider, and this does not make it right within the context of moral placement in hepaphilia or pedophilia, but in
Mm-hmm.
Japan, I believe the age of consent is 12.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
really low. That's really,
Ex-
really low.
right. So setting that social bar
Mm-hmm.
within if this would be okay is, I guess, a different lens
Yeah.
to consider than what we would consider appropriate.
Yeah.
I assume he's in his 20s. I think that I have a note. He's 29.
Yeah, he's 29, so
His name
he's
is Takashi Asano.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so like that's over 10 years. His brain is done developing because your brain stops developing or is not stops developing, but is like mature at 25, roughly. And
Right.
so her brain is still developing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's definitely scrambling,
Mm-hmm.
panicking. Like, what can I do? Oh no. Like she's very attached. And so this shows us like right out the gate that Nana K or Hatchi very much has like codependency
Yes, for
on
sure.
the heteronormative relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And within this next page when she's panicking and sitting in the car, it pans in on his wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's like lightly breaking up with her. Like it's for him, he understands this was casual.
Yeah, and I knew that like in my notes I actually have that like breaking up quote unquote in quotations. He's breaking up
Mhm.
with her. But this is kind of I guess kind of a segue, but I guess it does kind of keep coming up again specifically in this chapter because
Mhm.
Hachi keeps kind of mentally revisiting this moment.
Yes.
And so I have a friend who lives in China.
Mm.
And then one day when we were talking about a few years ago, and he's been there for a while, he's like, so infidelity is really normal here.
Right. It's not as taboo. Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you really? And he's like, mm-hmm. It's just, it just kind of do. And I'm just like, and then that westernized brain is like, but that's not okay, you know?
Right. Right. If we think about it in the social context of like polyamory, though, and if it is common knowledge within a marital agreement that, this is a possibility,
Hmm.
I think that it moves that idea to being more acceptable.
True. Can we still do that though if this is taking place in 1999?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's
Okay.
cultural difference, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. I was wondering how the
Yeah,
brain.
because it's a different culture of understanding, and so we're looking at it from our perspective.
Hmm.
And also without having fully immersed or experienced, we haven't had immersion into that society of perspective. And so we can
Right.
have like our social opinions on these types of things, but it doesn't mean that it's not uncommon within that scape. But we also like find out later when June is like kind of giving her a hard time because June very much lectures her
Mhm.
that, it also wasn't acceptable.
Right.
Like it wasn't okay. But what this is showing for Nana is very much like this was her first love.
Hmm.
And for that to be your first love and to think that that's acceptable, especially when your brain is developing, what does that? How does that set the stage?
Yeah.
So back to the manga itself though.
She gets broken up with, Takashi, and then I don't know if it's like her future self saying this or like herself in the moment, but she's like, it's pointless to shed any tears over this. And then the next panel, she's crying. Just,
Right, right. Well, I think that she's talking to herself.
is she? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
because when she has her flashbacks, like it's always that blocked out, like full page with some kind of scape behind it.
right.
Because she is telling the story.
Mhm.
It is primarily her perspective. And when we move on to the next page, we go into like her inner thoughts on it.
Mhm.
Because it is a scene of a hotel, right?
Mhm.
And this is where the demon lord is first introduced.
Yes.
Um, it says it was in March of 1999, 4 months before July. So, at this time in July of 1999, Nostradamus had a prediction about a king of terror or the Terror King. And so that is where the Demon Lord comes from.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
man.
and it was very much a part of like pop culture, and I think that it just kind of also plays into like the Y2K like
Yeah.
essence,
Yeah.
but Hachi ends up bringing it in such a way that like it ends up spreading to all of her friends too.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, oh, the demon lord. And because Nana means seven, she believes now that she's cursed because of the Nostradamus prediction of the King of Terror.
Right. I mean, it's also a fun in joke for the friend group too.
Right, absolutely. But no, she takes it seriously the whole time. Because
I
they
know.
like that's the thing is they're waiting for this horrible prediction to happen.
Mm.
And so like that's her scapegoat.
Yeah.
For all the things that she thinks are going to happen. And so she says the demon lord of terror sought me out and came crashing down. And so like this is where she places that heartbreak a lot of time and her misfortune.
Yeah. That's a reoccurring thing that happens.
Oh, it's a theme. It's a whole ass theme, right? And then we moved to the point where she said it was pointless to shed tears and she's just like weeping and she's weeping in the bathroom sitting on the toilet to June.
Yeah, and here we get a nice shot of Junko with not fantastic hair like she'll have later. She's just kind of got it straight, plain, um high school girl going
Right.
on
Well,
here.
that's also the thing is like it's actually surprising that Nana's hair is like lighter colored because in Japan, from what I understand, even people who naturally have lighter colored hair, they have to dye it black for uniform.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably safe to say that this is just, we have to tell these people apart.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But also like her hair and her getting her hair done is actually a really big deal.
Hmm. Oh,
Because that's
yeah.
what this frame is about. And as we move on, they're even like she's like consoling her through this
Hmm.
because she has heartbreak and like whatever. And June is like, but he was cheating on his wife. Like,
Yeah.
hey, but like, how could you think this was going to like be something substantial?
Hmm.
Dude was already married.
Yeah.
Like you were number two, honey. Like you weren't the number one.
No, not at all.
Um, and June, like, I don't know. I find June really funny. I think personally that June has like a very dry sense of humor and doesn't hold back.
Hmm.
Um, and so like even though like Nana's having like a full-on meltdown, she's obviously used to Nana's meltdowns.
Hmm.
Um, and she mentions like, why didn't you get anything from him? It might have well has just been prostitution. Like, why didn't you get like if you're gonna have a sugar daddy, have a fucking sugar daddy.
Yeah, like some jewelry, girl, maybe some clothes.
Right. And I see it as humorous, whereas I don't know if everybody do you read it that way? Because I think June is hilarious.
I mean, so I personally love Junko. Maybe not as much as I love Nana O, but so honestly, June to me feels like Hachi's mother. Like just
Hmm.
just that guiding hand, like, okay, honey, like you're clearly in a crisis again, so we'll
June is
just
grounded. I would say that
yeah,
she's grounded,
yeah.
right? And
Um,
like she does piss me off way later, but
oh,
like for the most part, it's like she does see that Nana needs taking care of,
she does.
right? And
Hmm.
she's grounded and Nana is just a flighty air sign. I'm sure she's like has a lot of Libra placements or something. But June points out that like he was probably just interested in her because she's like a teeny bopper and Nana loses her shit over being called a teeny bopper.
Hmm.
And automatically goes to her hair and being like, but I got my hair done to look more mature.
Hmm.
Um, and so then that sparks June, well, I want to get my hair done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes like a weird side conversation because they genuinely do start to get their hair done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it ends up being that like it's this whole thing about her being young
Mm-hmm.
and June just being like, this is what this is, and then has to explain that, you're not going to be a high school girl like tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter anymore about your
Mm-hmm.
hair. Like, that's over because they're graduating.
Yeah, like that day.
Yeah, they're graduating literally that day while she's having this like spin out meltdown. And
Yep.
then we go into a flashback about all of Nana's crushes since high school.
Yes.
Um, and it's not even about like the actual graduation anymore. It's
No.
all of these flashbacks, and we go through all of these guys, and each guy that she has a crush on, she changes her hair to be like their hair.
So about that, okay, so I'm going to be giving like a personal thing on here. This is the most relatable thing that I have seen Hachi do. When I was younger and I was super into guys, I did the same thing. Not with my hair, but I would like adopt their style.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So when she did that, I'm just like, yep, this is, I have done this. In retrospect and hindsight, it's really weird and super cringy, but it's for the people. So there you go, everyone listening. I did a stupid thing when I was in high school, like, ooh, I'm super into him. Let's copy his style. Yeah, that'll.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like one of the panels, she's even like, "But I was growing my bangs out to be like yours," and he and
right,
you left. And like the video guy, so she gets baby bangs because he has baby bangs, and
right.
like each of them is different, and so she goes through all the little quirky crushes that she had had before meeting Old Man. Which he's not old because there was one that was older. I think he was like the oldest one's like 35. He was the chef.
Yeah, yeah, he's like
Um,
he's like my age. I'm like, oh hey, look at you, man. Chef, what's his name?
it is
What?
Mr. Kawasaki.
Kawasaki. Yeah.
Yeah, 35 years old. He's the chef at a restaurant I work at part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's it's interesting though. And I mean, I think that it's like it's not abnormal, I don't think, for teen girls to have crushes on older people or teen
No.
people in general to have crushes on older people. It's that pursuit that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so like but she goes through all these crushes and she's like doesn't know what to do about it. And so she's talking to June and being like down on herself, like sad about it. And she ends up dieting because the last crush that she had was on Babyface Yoshida, the pizza delivery boy, and she gained 10 pounds.
She
So
took
then
the
she
same pizza
so
just to
she
see him.
so she goes on a diet and then she's at the movie theater because she likes to go to movies by herself. I love going to movies by myself. Um
I actually, I mean, I've never done that mostly because I'm a social person, but I love that Hachi goes to movies by herself because it feels like the one thing that is like quintessentially her. Like all the other choices, like I'm changing my hair, well, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but she pretty much just follows Junko to art school. Like those are all like external things, but this one thing is like, but I go to movies by myself, and I'm like, yes.
right, it's her thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's her time. So she ends up going to the movies, and because she hasn't been eating, she ends up falling over, and this is where she meets old man Takashi.
Mm-hmm.
And he also likes going to movies by himself. And so like that's their thing, right?
Yeah.
And um and so that's like where they make their connection.
Mm-hmm.
And she thanks him for like the help because he got her something to drink. And in turn, she's like, I work at the restaurant down the street. You should come by sometime. And it had been weeks. And then he was just like standing outside her work when she got off work one day.
Mm-hmm. Did she know that he was married when she first met him, or was it later that she was like, oh, and there's the ring? Okay.
It wasn't when they first met. It was when he showed up at her work and um just him being there, she fell in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, I noticed right away that he had a wedding ring on his finger, but I
Mm-hmm.
somehow ignored it.
Yeah.
So she did know, not
Mm-hmm.
relatively promptly. She had like that pining moment of that couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she does say that she genuinely fell in love with him, which I mean is fair. Love is chemicals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their whole relationship was just like a couple times a month and going to a hotel. So it wasn't even really a relationship.
No, just banging, really.
Right. Um, and so we have the end of that flashback and now her, just trying to get over it.
Yeah.
Um, and trying to tell herself that it was a blessing that they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just so that she can feel better.
Yeah.
Which is tough. I mean, a first love like that, I'm sure that there's someone that's really relatable to.
Yeah.
Um, just like heartbreak of first love in general, especially like young love. Like, I don't know. It's like it's it's the first heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
That one's always tough, and it doesn't really matter what the surrounding factors are.
No, not really. It's painful either way. It's probably more painful if you could never actually obtain the thing that you wanted.
Right. Right. Well, and like Hachi's really just not someone to question things.
No, not at all.
Like she's just like head first into like literally everything. So flighty. Like just okay, I'm going to do that too. Okay, I'm here for this. And doesn't really think about the steps past the first one.
No,
Um
I mean, but I think that's probably the reason why I end up really liking her later, just because she is like that, where she's just like,
right.
I'm just gonna do this thing, and I'm like, I love a woman that can get things done, but also you forgot about it's fine, we'll fix it in
Well, yeah,
post.
she's a good person, but she's very naive.
Very. That's what
Um
makes me so sad.
right? And so then we go on to about how June is wanting to go to art school and they have new hair.
They do.
They have new hair. Now we are on their first day of art school, which I would assume that means that they had their summer break
Yeah.
and did all of that. Um, and now this art school is co-ed, which is a
Oh,
really
yeah.
big deal for Hachi, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's always gone to an all-girls school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so June asks her if, are you going to find a boyfriend here? Like, it's co-ed, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And
She's
I
kind of asking, she's
right?
asking about like, are you so you're just here to get a boyfriend, essentially?
I
Asking her.
mean, kind of, but not really. Because this is like a technical school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, after high school, kind of like a college prep school, because school is different in Japan.
Yeah.
Um, School in the States is just crap all around. Um, but if you don't get into college right away, or if you don't want to go to like university right away, then you go to like a technical college to prep you for university.
Right.
And so that's what they're doing. And just the fact, I think, for Nana that this is co-ed and she's never had that. Like, think about it. You go to an all-girls school. Think about like if if you're not gay, think about the men that you come in interact with. Those are all of her crushes, her boss, her teacher, the pizza
Mm-hmm.
boy. You know what I mean? Like, and this is never giving the opportunity to know how to be friends with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And so that becomes like the big statement is I need to see males as humans.
Yeah,
Hilarious,
which is a
right?
hilarious line. Yeah, just oh goodness.
And that comes to be because the hairstylist that did her hair, because of course June is making fun of her hair. But she ends up finding out that like the hairstylist wasn't single and that he's married and that he's really young for being married. And June is like, come on, how the fuck did you find that out? Like, that's automatically where she goes.
I think I don't know. Hachi's really good at sniffing out those details, I think.
Are they single? Are they not single? So like it becomes this whole thing though, and I know that in the anime they push it more so in this area where they explain a lot more in detail about like Nana just needing to have friends that are boys.
Hmm.
Um and when she's explaining, you know, that the hairstylist is married and June's like, "Well, that never stopped you before." And Nana gets like forlorn and sad again. And she's like, I'm actually trying to repent. I
Hmm.
think I've been cursed by the demon lord.
Right. And then June's like, demon lord? What? And they're like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, the demon lord. The demon lord. Everything is the demon lord's fault.
He's the demon lord's fault. uh,
Uh, yeah, I mean, and like it's funny though, because like in the next panel, she's like, Nana's like, and I just realized another thing. Aren't all the people I've hit on older than me? That's a major issue. You just realized this
yes.
just now. Like you're the connections being made after, right? It's that head first diving in.
Right.
And seeing that growth of just being like, oh, it's just dawned on me. For the pizza boy. I mean, you
So for the
know,
pizza guy.
but like, you know, she ate too many pizzas. Um, and so they make their way to their room, and um, and like Nana's just going on and on and on in her own little dream world
Hmm.
and rambling, and June is just like, she is so here to get a guy, you know, like this,
Yeah.
right? But like, Nana doesn't let on that she's literally doing things for anything else but being in a relationship, right?
True.
Um, And June is like, well, why don't you just start, like, just stop falling head over heels for, like, literally every guy. And then Nana sees Shoji.
Shoji. Oh, I have so many things to say about Shoji.
Dude, I don't like that I met. I don't like that I don't, mm, I don't, I don't like that I end up hating him.
Uh, So, I mean, complicated feelings about Shoji. I don't know if we're gonna be opposite on this, but like literally, I hate Shoji and Hachi together.
Interesting. See, like, I'm not the biggest fan of him.
Oh,
He's
fair.
basic. I mean, it's it, right?
Uh, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. He is every white bread college boy that you're ever gonna meet in
Right.
college.
He's basic. He's simple. He's very simple. Now, I like though that I like what he teaches Hachi.
To trust no one?
No.
Sorry.
No, because that's later. I mean, you got to remember it's not about like it's about the journey, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
And
know.
so like that arc of that journey.
Hmm.
Because Nana wouldn't know how to have male friends if it wasn't for Shoji.
That's true.
Right? And he could have been worse.
Yeah, that is true.
So she freaks out because they lock eyes and then he starts like storming towards them.
Hmm.
And so she gets scared.
Yeah, she's like, oh, he's coming
But
up to me.
but Shoji knows June. And
Hmm.
so like that's he's like freaking out because they went to middle school together.
Yeah. Now, did you get this or is it just me? I kind of always kind of got the feeling that Shoji had a huge crush on Junko. Maybe that's just my read.
I think that Shoji was a teenage boy and had a crush on every girl.
Fair.
Like, I don't I don't think it was for like any particular reason. I think it was just like, ooh, girl.
Mm. Yeah, no, I can see that. That's true.
You know, like especially like a middle school boy.
Yeah,
And from what we learn later, like June was friends with boys, which totally makes sense for her character.
it does.
But yeah, so Nana's like, what the fuck is going on? Because she was like, I thought you were looking at me. Wait, you know her? Like, what is going on here? And Shoji's like excited, like your hair, blah 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 blah. Because hair is such a thing. Um, because hair is powerful.
Yeah.
So then, you know, Shoji's like, oh, this is your friend. And then he asks if she's a gossip, and June is like, yep.
He's
Like,
just,
no pause. Yep.
yeah, just tossing her under the bus like, yeah, she's a total gossip. Like, no, she's the queen of gossip.
Right?
That's what
Right?
she's thinking. And I mean, Nana doesn't really have anything to say to that. She's just kind of like, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
then he introduces himself and smiles, and then she's like freaking out because he has a nice smile.
I mean,
But like Nana doesn't think at a level of depth. She's just like, oh, pretty, oh, shiny. Like, and that's, I mean, and it's not that she's a one-dimensional character. It's just like right now within this core development of her in her introduction, like it's painting this landscape of more or less her codependency because both Nanas have toxic qualities. They're not bad people, but they both have toxic qualities.
no,
And
that's true.
they are opposites.
Yes, which is I kind of always feel this is like a total side note, but sometimes I always feel if you have two girls or whomst ever and they are really good friends, like one of
Mhm.
them is usually always the Nana and the other one is always the Hachi. Like if it's like you and I, like you're the Nana and I'm the Hachi.
Right, right. Well, yeah, there's the balance, right? But that's also what
Hmm.
makes, I think, kindred friendships
Yeah, no, for
um
sure.
is having a balance. Like that's every relationship though, you know,
Hmm.
is there has to be a balance to it.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it just tips over and it doesn't last.
Yeah, agreed.
Um and so then we meet um
Kyosuke?
Kyosuke?
Yeah, that. God, I've been saying it wrong.
It's okay when
No.
you say it in your head, it's different than what it is out loud. And I
Mm.
could be saying all of these things wrong too because I don't speak Japanese. I can have Finn come in, maybe
Hey,
give us a
stop.
lesson.
Help.
But yeah, Kyosuke, Takura,
Takakura?
Takakura.
Yes.
Now I'm like tripping up, but Kyosuke. Um, and Kyosuke, I'm here for Kyosuke. Not gonna
Oh,
lie,
oh, he's so
fan,
pretty.
big
He's so
fan,
pretty.
big
Yeah.
fan. But he's also just like chill,
Yeah.
right? He's like, you think he's a bad boy, but like he's not. He just doesn't fucking care.
Oh, yeah, he's got just that, yeah, super vibes. And then of course, as soon as, Hachi sees him, she's like, oh, he
Right?
also is nice.
Right? Right? But also nice. No, honey, you think they're hot. Like,
Yeah.
but his hair is kind of weird. Because he has dreads.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess dig on the hair. It's
But like
fine.
also this is 1999 in Japan.
Yeah, that's
So
facts.
like, you know, and so then it says this is the opening act of happy campus life, isn't it, June?
Mhm. Just pretty, pretty boys and art class, which I mean, there's worse things in life.
Right, but then she's instantly like, what do you mean campus life? Because it's a technical school, it's not university. So like it's just it's pretty much the same as high school,
Yeah,
except you choose, right?
yeah.
And it's co-ed, which is a big deal for Nana.
Hmm.
um So yeah, then Nana's like, Shoji is your ace in the hole, right? And as
Yeah.
in like, you're gonna date him. Like, you don't have to work
Yeah.
for it. Like he's already there. And June is like, what are you even talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I can be friends with men and
And
not date them.
then Hachi's like, you're a liar.
Right? Right? She's so confused. And then that's when she starts thinking to herself, I should do that. I should be friends with men. Like, what a novel idea. They're whole ass people.
Which, for I don't know, it always feels more like she set this up in like a text block in her head. Like, okay, I am setting out to be friends with males, but I don't know if it's just like a. It doesn't feel like a very chill, like I'm just gonna see where this goes. It's more like a bullet point. One, must make friends with men.
No, but like that's literally how she does everything though.
Okay, that is true.
Everything ends up being a bullet point. Like once she realizes, oh, this is a normal thing people do, I have to do that. I am going to do that. It becomes like really intense.
Hmm.
Like it's just like she goes all or nothing in once she decides on that thing.
True.
Um and then she goes on to say like, well like she's going to make them her friends. And then she's like, well, what happens if I slip and fall in love? And June explains like that's what's supposed to be. That's how that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, like that's okay. Don't.
Because then that happens like naturally, right?
Hmm.
That's not something that you control. And so then June gets a phone call and invites the boys over to hang out.
Yeah, and automatically, already, Hachi is like, "Oh my God, boys!" No.
Well, yeah, like she's like, he's just a friend. Calm down.
Hmm.
Remember, like it's all right.
It's
I can do
alright.
this. I can do this. I
I
could be
can.
friends with boys. And they bring beer. So they can hang out and yada yada. And Hachi's like super awkward, like not talking. And Shoji is like, are you being shy?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And then she's like, I need to drink so that I can get more comfortable. And
Hmm.
then proceeds to tell all of her stories about the men she's fallen in love with.
Yeah, like, oh, I mean, it's cool that it can be like an anecdote, but that section where she's like, I really need to get drunk so I can like loosen up. That's always really bothered me that
Mhm.
she can't be herself, like just sober. She's just like, I have to have this stimulant in order to, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hyper focusing on it, but I'd be like, no, 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 you don't have to do that thing.
Right. Like I didn't translate it that way. How I translated, yes, she's saying I have to drink to get more comfortable.
Mm,
Because she is putting herself in an uncomfortable situation by trying to change the way that she interacts with people.
mm-hmm.
Because she's trying to focus on being friends with boys for the first time in her life. That
Mm-hmm.
itself is making her uncomfortable. Um, and she just met these people.
Yeah. And she's trying, she's giving it her best, but also you said, like going back to the thing where you said that she's just really sheltered. And I mean, as someone who does identify with that, because I was a very sheltered kid, like I get it.
Mhm,
I get the
mhm.
whole like are you being shy? Like, yes, I'm shy because I don't know what to say to you, because I have a lot of awkward thoughts that go through my head. And I feel like if I say them out loud, you're going to be like, okay. And this conversation is over. So, and then proceed to be ignored for the rest of the night. Like, I get what Hachi feels.
Right, right. I mean, I think that's a part of it. I think that in this case, it really genuinely is because um she doesn't know how to be friends with boys,
Mhm.
right? And so it is like not knowing what to say. I agree with that part absolutely. So yeah, she proceeds this like very very she has everybody laughing, telling
Mhm.
the stories of all of her crushes until she gets to the old
To,
man.
yeah. And there,
Um
and because Shoji's asking like, oh, there's more, like who's next on the list, and then
mhm.
Hachi just has like this blank, vacant. stare like
because
deer in
she
the
has like
headlights.
yeah, she has trauma flashback.
Yeah.
Um and goes to when he first showed up at the restaurant she worked at,
Hmm.
in her memory, and then she starts crying and has a meltdown.
Yeah. She,
And it's only been several months, maybe.
yeah, not that long. I think Junko, after this, like mentions the time
Hmm.
skip. I think, let's see, it's in here somewhere. I think it's like, oh, yeah, it's only been like a few months.
Right. Yeah, because the summer, right? Because that was the day before
Hmm.
graduation that they broke up.
Yeah. So
Um,
not long enough to process and heal.
mhm. Well, yeah, and it's the whole thing, like, June ends up taking her to bed, and then she's like dreaming, and it shows his hand with his wedding ring, and it says, "You don't love me, don't touch me."
Hmm.
Um, and obviously, like Shoji and Kyusuke are worried about her, but June says, "Don't worry about it." And Shoji has to go, so he takes the train and is like, "Kyosuke is passed out. Is it okay if he stays?" Of course, it's fine. Um, and Shoji is like, "Have you fallen in love with me, Junko?" Before he leaves.
Which, kind of led into my whole thing of him being like, that guy that's just like, I'm like, that's why I
I
was like,
think he just wants to be wanted by everybody.
So is that just, is that what
Right.
just like cold facts, or is it because you genuinely do not like Shoji?
No, I mean, like, even here, he's like, when I was in high school, I had 5 to 10 girlfriends too.
Oh God, it's just,
Like, that's
yeah.
no, it's him. It's him. And I mean, like, I don't dislike him. He's just fucking basic. Like, that's it. He's just an average dude that teaches Nana like some really valuable things. So anyway, June ends up asking Shoji if he has a girlfriend. And he doesn't.
Nope.
And he points out that he came over because of Nana. And she's like, "You came over because of Nana, didn't you?"
He's like,
And
yeah.
so then Shoji like gets like upset because but Nana said she didn't like me. And see, here's the thing. Shoji is the male version of Nana.
That's true.
Like not fully, because at least Nana is way more quirky. But we don't see enough of Shoji to like get that, you know?
Hmm.
Um and then June is like, "No, she thinks you're so dreamy and so cool."
He's like, what? No way.
Right? Right?
And then, of course, Junko's humor. She's like, well, good luck, bro.
Right? Best of luck to you. Like
Yeah, and he's
have at it.
yeah, he's like, what does that even mean? What are you talking about? Good luck.
Right?
Uh, and then bam, it's the morning, and Hachiko's awake. She sits up in bed, and then immediately she's like, "Oh my God, my head!"
Right. Yeah, big stabbing hangover, which is
Yeah.
also really weird to me because if she's 18, I don't remember. I drank a lot when I was 18. I don't remember hangovers. Sorry.
So it might depend on I mean, first of all, lucky, but it might depend on maybe the sugar content because I used to drink when I went over to this one guy that I was kicking it with in my college days. What was I drinking? I was drinking Smirnoff Ices over at his place.
Oh no, those kill. Those
Yeah.
like it's like gut rot.
Yeah.
I they were drinking cheap beer.
Hmm.
And she even says like Shoji and Kyusuke brought us beer. But she like then moves into that happy, like faded, like type thing, which I'm like, yeah, there's a hangover happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I do remember that.
Hmm.
Um, and then she's like, male friends are great, aren't they? She thinks that to herself. But she needs aspirin. And so she goes out into the living room to get aspirin and
And My
June
goodness.
June and Kyosuke are totally making out.
Yeah, there
And June freaks out
she does.
and starts like just coming up with excuses, blah blah blah. And then Kyosuke's like, no, from the moment I first saw Junko, I thought she was really cool. And
Mm,
June like blushes.
yeah, and let me get kind of a thing that like Hachi does like all the time. It's like she'll have like a conversation with someone, she'll like take in their dialogue. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but like watching Hachi do it's really funny. It's like June told her that love isn't logical, and here she is like telling.
Right, right. She's like, well put, Kyosuke. Falling in love isn't about logic. But then Kyosuke chuckles
Mhm.
and is like, you are the expert on love.
Yeah, and she's like, "What? What?"
And so then Nana blames Junko and is like, you're a blabbermouth. And June's like, you're the one who did it. Like, you're the one who said everything.
And then and then there's this like shot of a Hachi where like just like swirlies of huh, and then there's that click, 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 like it's written down in the back. It's like her brain is trying to
Mhm.
catch like what I can't, I don't
Can't
even.
remember, cannot compute.
And now she's not listening at all because she's too busy trying to remember what she
Right.
said.
Yep. Yep. You know, like rereading this, like while going through it, I'm like, is is Hachiko neurodivergent? Because I'm
Ah,
really like, I'm just like, oh, you've got a spicy brain. Like
I
you've got to
mean,
have a spicy brain.
yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, I was just thinking that, like, as we were just kind of sort of talking about it, I was like, sheltered or neurodivergent or both, because she
Right. Not
does.
understanding, but it's like it's not even a matter of like her just not understanding like male social cues. Like she doesn't understand social cues.
No, she doesn't, like, not at all. And also, like, the fact that, like, her brain will overtake her to the point that she's not listening to anything
Mhm.
that's going on.
Right.
Like,
She disassociates a lot.
she does, like, hardcore, and then she makes, like, just random decisions, and yeah, like,
Yeah, absolutely. So then, as they're walking to school, June takes her through her stories that she was telling
mm-hmm,
about all of her crushes, and then what happened when she brought up Old Man Takashi.
mm-hmm. And Nana's very shocked. I mean, at first she tries to play it off. She's like, no, dude, I'm over him. And June's like, no, no, you're not.
Right, exactly. Like you're actually not. Um,
But then she like goes into pretty much like trying to like push Shoji on her. And that's kind of where I'm like, June,
well, I don't
maybe,
think she's pushing like the way that they're drawn and stuff. I don't actually see it like she's pushing him on her because she obviously likes Shoji.
it's true. I don't know. Okay, that's a me read. It's kind of like, you're really, really sad about old guy. So about Shoji, and I'm just like, wait, maybe she
But
should
it's
talk.
also been several months.
True. I don't
Several
know.
months. And so she's like, "Hey Nana, if you think you like Shoji dot dot dot. Like just if you think, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
see that as pushy. It would personally. I think that it would just be like, well, you know, you should just like pushy would be like you need a rebound here.
It- True. I mean, okay, so this is definitely me like just reading like my own kind of experiences into this because like
Mhm.
I knew girls like this in high school and even in college that like one minute they would be like dating some guy, something awful would happen, they would break up, and then I'd be like, so maybe take a break, maybe just move for a while, and then they're like, nope, and they're automatically on to the next person, and then something awful would happen and they'd break up, and just the vicious cycle. So for me,
Right.
I'm like, here, I'm just like, June, she needs like maybe like 2 or 3 years, maybe,
I
to
don't think
just.
so because she was like 16, 17.
I know. Again,
You
this is
know,
just this is just me.
right. I mean, like that's the thing is I every grief, every heartbreak has different time allowances, and that's personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she does take her time, which we see. Like she doesn't just date Shoji.
It's
Um,
true.
you know, and Nana's like after that, like, are you being so nice and sweet because of Kyosuke? Like straight up, like, what is this shift in you? Um,
Like you get a guy to kiss you and and feel you up a little bit, and now you're super sweet, and June's like, Stop it,
right, no, 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 no.
no."
But June goes on to say that Shoji is a really good guy, and I think he'd be loyal to his girlfriend. And so, like, that is a variable difference also, is suggesting this person because Nana is so hyper fixated on dating someone, right? More
Mm-hmm.
so than even getting over Takashi.
Okay, yeah, I
Um,
can see that.
and June knows Shoji,
Yeah.
right? And so that's another big part of it is she's like, I know this person.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he
Which,
doesn't fuck up. It just means, you know.
yeah, that's a. I mean,
No, but
we'll
I
get
have
to
views on
that.
that. I have views on that. I'm kind of like in the middle about that when we get there. I have
Yeah,
views.
I mean, I have views too, and I know mine are not super popular at all. Yeah, no, we'll get to it. Getting off track.
I don't
But
blame Shoji.
I don't either.
Right, that's the thing. Um
That opinion is not popular.
no,
I've
it's
read
not.
some.
Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. Um
No. No, I have read some comments. I'm like, oh my goodness.
right, right,
You
right.
know.
I mean, there are always better ways to handle stuff, but also you have to remember the age. The
Yeah,
age that they're at and the mistakes that happen at those ages.
yeah,
Which is really important,
it
right?
is. Yeah, agreed.
So it's so important. Like they're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Babies.
right, exactly. Shit happens. Um,
I guess that's what kills me is because most of the comments, because that's just me. Like when I see a comment, I'm like stalking the account a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, I just do. I just like I have to know everything. Ravenclaw House represent, but
right,
I'm like this person is 14 years old that made this comment, so I'm like, I, but you. Mm, have you had boyfriends or girlfriends yet, or
right, right,
human
right.
relationships yet? Do you, or, and if you have, like, how is your life so perfect up until this point, making no mistakes?
Right.
So,
Well, and I think that's also a variable difference. And like as well as when I was reading these, they were coming out and I was the same age as them. They were coming out in the States. They weren't coming out in Japan because like that's different. It's a few years off, right? But
yeah.
when I was reading them before they were serialized, um, I was the same age.
See
So,
that, yeah, that means a lot because I was 25 when I started reading these.
mhm, mhm.
So that's different than
Yeah,
18.
right, exactly. So it's that mindset of that maturity, and it doesn't matter how mature you are for your age, quote unquote, because that's just a creepy grooming dog whistle. Um, you know, you all of these mistakes are relatable, and I think that's what Ayazawa does so well is that she takes real life things that we would deem mistakes and places them in settings to where they are relatable and can be questioned from multiple different avenues.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Right? Like her storytelling is just like top notch.
Unlike the relationship aspect, this is the first time we get Hachi saying to another girl, like, if you were a guy, I'd be your girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. Um cuz like I don't really see that as a weird thing personally. But
Yeah,
I know that depending on who the individual is, that can be read into.
that's then yeah, again, that's a me thing. I mean, again, I know we discussed it last time. I don't necessarily think that, the relationships that Hachi has with other women are like, lesbian relationships or sexual in any nature. I think it's just like, yeah, like you said in the episode 0, like, she fucks with Junko, she fucks with, um
Right. I think that it's actually really healthy to have platonic partnerships.
no, agreed. But I also, my little bisexual heart is also like at the same time. So,
Right. I mean, it's also like, yeah, there is the sapphic quality to it and to those types of comments. But it
mhm,
also begs the question, then why isn't it that way within like reversal situations or pointed out in a synonymous tone? Um, and I mean, obviously, it's because this is the lens from Hachi telling this story.
mhm.
But you know what I mean? Like, why is it looked at? Why would there be Nana, fanfic, sapphic fanfic, but not fanfic of Kyosuke and Shoji?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure those exist somewhere on the
I'm sure
internet.
they do exist, but like that's not a pushed tale, right?
No, and actually, well, what about, sorry, this is jumping real far ahead, but what about like Shin and Ren?
Dude, no, but seriously, that's my point though. They have a platonic partnership also. I
True.
think that the importance of platonic partnerships is something that gets lost more
Hmm.
often because we have to sexualize everything.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
And that
This
we
is
can't just like have that lens. But back to the panel, June
true.
ends up saying that she would not date Nana. Like never. Like this isn't a thing. Um
And I've always read that she's like, oh, not with you, and it's like June is not like it's like she doesn't hate the idea of dating a girl, but she's also like, oh, but honey, it wouldn't be you, like,
right, but it's also not even a matter of dating a girl because June would be a boy.
yep, true,
Right?
true, true.
But June is like, I couldn't date you. Like that's
No,
too much. Like I need to be allowed breaks. You know? Like
no, definitely that too. Just like, no, not you, honey. You're much. You're too much.
right? And then she goes on to say, "It's okay. I've become friends with Shoji," and June is confused.
Yeah, she's like,
Um,
wait, what?
yeah, and Nana's like, "Shoji is a very important male friend, you know?"
This is just solidifying her neurodivergency from my brain. Like,
Right? Right? It's just like, no, categorize box.
yeah, gotta get
That's it.
exactly. It's like
Social box Q.
yeah, he is over here. He is friend, must not date.
Right? And then proceeds to say that like, it would take some time before he could be something like a boyfriend. And June is like, something like a boyfriend? Like, what is she on?
Yeah, like what does she mean by that? And then he Shoji.
And she's like, a male friend is better than a boyfriend. Where did this Nana come from, essentially? Like, what happened in the last, like, 8 hours of your hangover?
Right?
Um,
Personality flip.
right? And so then they are in class.
Hmm.
And Nana and Shoji are just, like, chatting away.
Hmm.
Um, and June is in the background, really perplexed.
Yeah.
Just like, wait, she doesn't need my help? Wait, what's happening? Like, what's going on? Right?
My role as your mother has been surgically removed yet in 8 hours apparently. So yeah.
Right? Right? Exactly. And then Shoji asks, like, Nana if she wants to go to the movies, and in the background is Kyosuke and June, and they're both just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like the looks on their faces of
Yeah, like
and
okay, I
Nana's
can
like, no, I like to do it by myself.
which I'm proud. I'm
No,
so proud
yeah,
of.
exactly. Like I'm just like, yeah, that's your space. You fucking get it. But Shoji's like, what? Wait, what's happening? Everybody's so confused at this point because Nana's just like, whatever, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, and June's got this little like text box of like a broken heart, and I'm like, oh man.
Right? And then Nana has a little flashback to her heartbreak because old man liked to go to the movies alone too, and then she cuts her finger and Shoji mends it. Um,
Hmm.
And she blames the demon lord.
She does. Like,
And
oh.
Shoji is like, who's the demon lord?
Like, what are you even talking about?
And
It's like,
she's explaining that she's cursed. Like it's totally normal. Because that's totally, I don't know. Now that I think of her like in a neurodivergent mindset, I'm just like, yeah, it
yeah.
checks out. Like done.
No, yeah, it does. But then he's like, no, you're just a klutz. Like, let me fix your finger.
Exactly, exactly. And so then she has another little flashback about, old man and her heartbreak and that it's an open wound. Um,
And is this the part where she doesn't she thinks like I don't even know if he even gave me a real name, like maybe his name was fake? Or is that
um,
or
I
is
don't
that
think we're
later
to
when she
that.
thinks that?
Yeah, I don't think we're to that part yet. But she does end up thinking that because she doesn't, because like that's the thing is, in a way, she was being groomed,
Yeah.
and so she doesn't know if anything was real
Hmm.
at this point in time because she's going through that grief process of the gaslighting of, all of these different things that mark like a bad relationship.
Hmm.
um Whether he even knew, because we find out later, that he did have feelings and that he wasn't like a total piece of crap.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't actually get any malicious feeling off of Takashi, as I feel more so towards Shoji. But that's just
Right. Well, but
me.
they have an actual relationship, so like that's its own thing that plays out.
Yeah,
um
yeah, but even like, well, I mean, we'll get to it, but there's some before stuff that's about to happen here real soon that
mhm.
I had feelings about it.
Right, right. Well, yeah, yeah, but they're also young, so
I
like
I
I have such a
know.
hard time being like really harsh because I'm just like, you guys are babies. I was a baby once too, and I did a lot of really messed up stuff.
I know. And that's, I guess that's the thing though, is that like as I've been with the story, like my emotions have evolved. Like I have certain sympathetic feels towards Shoji, but I don't know what it was. Like again, I'm reading it again. I'm,
Hmm.
35 years old, and I don't know. I felt more critical of Shoji in just this first chapter than I think I ever have in the past. So I don't know
Right.
what's going on with me right now, but
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think that Shoji is basic.
that's
So, I mean, he's just a dude. He's just a dude.
yeah.
I don't think Shoji's anything special aside from like how he cares for Nana, right?
Yeah.
So he's mending her, and she freaks out and says, "I hate this," because she's having a flashback about old man because she's in pain and it's bringing up, the metaphysical or metaphorical pain of heartbreak.
Hmm.
Um, and he's like, "Calm down, the bandage is perfect. The wound will heal right away." And she says, "Thank you. You're really nice, Shoji." And he's like, "Oh, it was nothing." And then Nana asks, "Do you think you could mend a broken heart?"
And then, immediately that look, like I'm not sure how to interpret it. It's like do you mean
Yeah, he's
like
just like, "Oh, whoa." Like,
yeah.
I think it dawns on him that like she is actually like mourning,
Hmm.
right? That she is healing from something. And I don't think he really grasped the gravity of her heartbreak until that moment.
Yeah. But then okay, so he gets it, but then does he really get it?
No, I
Because
think he does. I really do. I will give him that. I will give him
okay.
that because he's like a heart, and she's like, I think the only way for me to fall, I think it's the only way for me to fall in love again.
Mhm. And
And so she's like, "What do you think?" And um and he's like, "I think you're right."
And then he almost maybe, I think, was maybe gonna ask her out here, but then Hachi,
Right.
being
She says
Hachi, is
Nana. And then she's like, oh, right then. Yeah, she makes her decision. She does her like
right.
intense, like, I got this. Like,
Yeah.
whoosh.
And then she's like, okay, she's like, Shoji, like, where do we go? Where's the hippest place in town for kids who are like our age to hang out?
Right? She's like, I need to go out. That's
Yeah,
what needs to happen. I need to go out.
yeah. And he's like,
Um,
the arcade? No, no.
definitely not. And so they decide on a club, and then she's like, I must fall in love. Heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of love. So now she's on a mission to fall in love, but not with Shoji.
Yeah, like,
It's a rebound.
yes.
She needs a rebound, right? So they go to this club, and she is sitting and watching this DJ, and then she's talking about how cool he is after with Shoji when they left, and she's like, "Oh, DJ, what is his name?
Matsushita?
Matsushita
Mm-hmm.
is so cool, super foxy, super chill." And Shoji's just like, "Come on, like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I don't want to hear this nonsense."
Oh,
Um,
yeah. But then again, it's like, but you're her guy friend. Like, if you're just her guy friend, like, you're gonna hear this nonsense. Just
Right,
roll with it.
right. I mean, yeah, kinda. We get to like how she treats her friends later because Shoji does like go off, and I do agree with what he says.
Oh, really? Because
Um,
I don't. But
I do.
that's just
Yeah.
me. It's just me.
I don't think that Hachi truly sees the humanity in other people.
Mm. Really?
I don't think that she sees them as whole people because everybody takes
Hmm.
care of her.
Mm.
She doesn't
Interesting.
she doesn't take care of anybody else.
Huh. I never read that off of her. I kind of read that she was just so, just kind of naive, and she's just sort of,
Right? Absolutely. That's what that is.
oh, is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm
Like,
giving her
it
more
is
like
the naivety for
grace.
sure. It's not until Nana O that we see her really care for someone else and see them as a whole person. But even then, she doesn't even see her truly as a whole person.
Hmm. I might have to I might have to think about that because again, I feel that she is, I don't know, the relationships that she has with Shoji and Jun and Kyosuke, they I don't know. I always feel like, okay, these are cool. These are first friends. These are just, and but I feel like when she actually meets Nana O and then that kind of circle there, then I'm like, okay, she's finally in a good place. Like this is more better for her. But that's just my read.
Right.
I don't
Right.
even really know why I feel that way, but I just do. I'm just like these people actually genuinely care. Not that, this group of friends doesn't care for her, but
Well,
maybe
like
it's
June is her like best friend, like her forever friend.
yeah.
They grew up together.
Hmm.
Um, and June doesn't go anywhere. She just lives her own life because she can't take care of Nana forever.
No, of course not.
Right? Um, it's about her feelings
Hmm.
always first. Like the way that she acts is as if nobody else has feelings unless they involve her.
I could see, yeah, I guess I can see that, especially because she in this scene he gives her like advice. It's just like, oh, just don't fall for this guy then, and she's like, oh, that advice sounds familiar, so you're turning into June. I should just call you Shojun.
Right. I love that she starts calling him Shojun. Like, I
And
love it so much because I'm just like, yeah. Because then later June calls him Shojun.
yeah, she does, but I mean you're right, like here, like he's like, no, no, don't call me that, but she does it anyway.
Right. But then she also goes on to say that June doesn't treat her like she used to. She's totally in love with Kyosuke, and it's softened her and toned her down a bit. She's lost her edge. And see, is it that Jun isn't treating Nana the same? Or is it that Jun isn't giving Nana her attention first?
Or is she relinquishing the care for Nana thing to Shoji so she can
That's the same
relax?
thing, though.
Is
That's the
it?
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now Jun is in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so she's treating Nana different, and Nana notices
Yeah.
that she is treating her different, but it's also like, oh, hold on, wait a second. Is she just treating me different, or is she not giving me the same amount of attention?
Hmm. I wonder if she pieces that together at
I
all.
don't think so, which is my
No.
point.
Yeah, like, I don't think she'd know. I'm like, she puts them together.
Right? But yeah, so Shoji doesn't want to be called Shojun for obvious reasons, and I'm like, no, you're Shojun now. Like that is literally your name.
Yeah.
Um, and that's it. But he essentially tells her like, why don't you just go for the DJ? Why don't you just like tell him, that you're into him? And she's like, no, he's an enemy of women because he's a player. So
He doesn't
like,
care. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But she found all of that out in that short amount of time at the club.
She's so good at
Right?
just, I mean, I guess that's part of like, is she a gossip? And that's why.
Right. Is she a gossip? Or does she need to, if she directed that same attention onto something else, like really, like her hyperfixation, like that's her hyperfixation, right? And so, like, if she directed it in a different way, you know,
Yeah. You might get shit done.
but yeah, then she's joking about how like Shoji is thinking to himself, after all, I'm just Junko's replacement, which is actually really sad. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing is June took care of Nana. Not
Yeah.
June wants to live her life, so June found a replacement to take care of Nana.
Which is maybe, well then again, he likes
He
Nana,
likes
so
her. So like
that's
that's
fine.
fair. It's valid. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying Nana is oblivious to
Mhm.
it. That's
No,
it.
that's true, but also like June, you need to like maybe warn people. Like, by the way, I'm giving you this person who I've
Yeah,
taken
but also
care
Shoji
of.
is so much like Nana, it's fine, right? And we see that in the next
True.
scene because they're like, we need to go on a summer vacation. So it's been a year.
Yeah.
It's been a year.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, so they've been like hanging out for a year. So
Yeah,
see,
they've been friends for a year.
she
Okay.
had two male friends at one time.
Right, but Shoji's been in love with her the whole time.
Yeah.
It's been a year. So now she's had a year and what, 3 months to get over old man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she still is like, she was still working on it because she just cut her finger like a week ago or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then they decide that they need to go on a break or on a summer break, and you see this like scene where both Nana and Shoji like are doing the exact same thing in Yell the Beach, and it's like, oh, they are the same person.
And then we move into the beach, and there they are, just chilling in the water. And Hachi's super happy. Like, it makes me feel young and happy. To which I'm thinking, like, what do you mean? You're like 18.
Right? Well, like, and that, but like, that's the thing though, is because they live in the country. So, like, they even talk about how it's nice not to see mountains and to get like this break, just away, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. When I was that age, like, I find it relatable, except we would like go camping. We wouldn't go
Yeah.
to the beach, but that's growing up in the mountains, and I think Japan is smaller. So, like,
Hmm.
you know, um, and we're not exactly sure exactly like how far the beach is from where they were at.
No, not really. Don't really have a like
Um,
a map or anything.
so then it's the end of the day, and June is like, I'm tired. And Nana's like, okay, it's fine. You guys share this room. So she offers up their room to Jun and Kyosuke, which means that Nana and Shoji have to share a room together.
True, but I mean, you were talking about like her obliviousness, but I was always kind of like, that's kind of cool of her, I guess, to be like, you probably want to hang out with your boyfriend alone, right,
Right, which is
June?
valid, but then she's oblivious what that means for her
Yeah, it does.
because nobody's taking care of her and explaining what it means.
That is true. And then Shoji,
Shoji does.
he does, and he says some really kind of awkward things in this scene.
I mean, yes, he says some awkward stuff about how guys are
Yeah.
and how guys think, right?
Hmm.
And if we take into account though that they've been friends for a year,
Yeah.
that he has been dealing with Nana's antics wanting to date other people for a year while being in love with her.
Hmm.
And it hasn't been a secret that he's in love with her.
I wonder. She doesn't seem to know.
She doesn't know, but like if she just like pay attention, she would know because like literally everybody has told her.
Uh, Maybe she was having a brain monologue every single time they've told.
Maybe starting to think she's ADHD. Okay, so I'm diagnosing manga characters now. Here we
It's
go.
okay. I mean, that's okay. That's what makes them relatable too. Like, you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
like
Um
maybe that's why I'm so frustrated with Shoji because for me, I literally see this poor woman, sitting on, this child essentially, like, kid sitting on the bed, and it's just like, well, like, what do you want me to do? Like, what's like going on? And he's over there like, figure it out, and I'm like, dude, come on, just relax. But I get it.
yeah, I mean
Antics.
exactly. Well, and like that's the thing is like he's exhausted of trying to explain these things to her,
I know. I I mean, I get it. I've been
right?
there. I've been in
And he's
Shoji's
also
position.
like in a way I feel like he's also trying to explain to her like I wouldn't do these things because I'm me,
Hmm.
but you like are being really foolish and you can't just do stuff like this,
Yeah.
right? I feel like that is like an undertone to it.
A little bit, yeah, for sure. And that's what makes me so sad that she literally doesn't understand that something dangerous could happen to her if Shoji wasn't Shoji. Like that just
Exactly, right. And then he has to explain that guys can do it even when they're not in love.
and she's
And
like,
she's really sad and she's like, I know that, but I thought
yeah,
you were different, Shoji. June
yeah.
told me so. And she starts crying. Um and he apologizes because like he's also frustrated. Right? I can see the side that it's not cool, but at the same time like he's also frustrated. And also she didn't even ask him if he would be okay with sharing a room with her.
No, she just kind of did.
Exactly. She's just like, "Oh, we're doing this now," right? And didn't even
Yeah.
consider his feelings yet again.
No, it's in that impulsiveness, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that does actually go to your point that she's just like, do, clean the droid. I don't.
She's like, "This is my world."
Yeah, you're just chess pieces in my universe.
Everybody, yeah, exactly. You guys are all NPCs. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
um, and then she goes on to say, because I really like, she's sad because she really liked him, and now he's bummed out, and now she's bummed out about him.
Mhm.
And, he's trying to explain, what you're saying isn't making sense. Like, because she's not, because she is kind of dragging him along.
Mhm.
And he's just been waiting for her heart not to be broken.
I wonder if she ever. Well, I guess you don't really announce that to the world, like, hey, by the way, today my heart is fully mended.
And I think that in a healthy situation, even for the age that they're at, when she's ready to date, she could be like, I think I'm ready to date. Right? Which is actually what happens here. But I don't know. Anyway. Anyway, where
Anyway,
was I?
we were we
Where
were
was I?
we were she's like, you are the male species, and he's like,
Right. She's like
okay.
explaining, yeah, it's
And then she's like, okay, it's hard to maintain a co-ed friendship, isn't it, Shoji? Because that's still a thing. Um,
yes.
and uh, and then she
And then
tries
she's like, I'll
to
go back
leave.
to my room. And he's like,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Like you literally can't do that. Like you gave them your room. You don't want to go in there.
No, and I don't know. This exchange is very funny to me because she's like, I wonder when they'll be done.
Right, exactly. And it's like, oh,
It's like,
I lost my headphones. Okay.
oh no.
They fell off my head. Um but I mean, she wants to leave so bad, and then he gets upset, and then he's like, I get it. And he gets really like fussy, and he's like, I'll sleep over on that bed. See, I don't like this part. Like this
I don't like
part,
this
I
part
actually
either.
at this part, I'm actually not okay with the way that he acts. It's like, oh, did you even still assume that you would be sharing a bed with her? Has that been the problem the whole time?
Right? No, for real, because like one minute they're like, oh, okay, you don't, it's not like, oh, you just want to like hang out and talk. He's not automatically like, fine, I guess I'll just sleep over here. Yeah, and I
So
bummed
like you
you
also
out.
see though, but yeah, you also see though that she misunderstood the whole time because she's like, you can't, Shoji, it's dangerous. As
Yeah,
in, it's dangerous to sleep in the same room. Like that's how she translated all of that.
yeah.
And
But
he's like,
no,
there's nothing to worry about, not now. And so like, it's like, but didn't you, Shoji, wake the fuck up? Did you not
yeah,
notice that like what she just said? You
yeah,
guys were miscommunicating about literally your sleeping arrangements, not about sharing a room.
right. It's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to, bum you out because of our friendship. And I'm like, Shoji.
Right. And so then she starts singing to him because, well, the first night he had to go home and they made a joke about him needing to go home because his grandma needs to sing him to bed. And
Mhm.
so then when they were in this room, she made a joke about how she would sing to him like his grandma. Like it's just like, it's a joke about him being a grandma's boy.
Right, and she's
Um,
just like, rock-a-bye, babe. And it's
right.
like,
And
oh
so
god.
then there's a clip of June laughing at the beach, and it's because Shoji is telling June about what happened. Um,
I love that June is laughing at that. Like, of course, that's so very quintessentially Nana. Like, did you think this wouldn't be something she would
right? Did you
do?
think that this wouldn't happen? And so she's like, "Good, a job well done, Shojun."
Yeah, and it's like, don't call me that. But and she says, I'm depending on you to be there for not. Well, now she tells him like you're the guy, like you're the one, you're a wizard, Harry. Like I have
Even
chosen
though, like,
you.
but she already told him before. You know what I mean? But now it's like, but now she's like, now I can go to Tokyo.
Yeah, and oh, okay, I
As
guess.
someone has to take care of Nana. And Nana's not even aware that people are taking care of her.
Why does he look so shell-shocked about it? Like, did he think he wouldn't just have to take up the mantle? Because he
Well,
looks
that's
so
the thing,
shocked.
though, because nobody should.
Oh, well, okay, that is true. That is very true.
And so then Kyosuke says he's going to regret it if he keeps laying in the beach in the sun like that. And then Shoji asks Kyosuke if June is really going to Tokyo. And he agrees, and then he just very casually says he's going to. Like, so he's so
Yeah.
cool. He's so cool.
He's so cool. But I also love that the fact that June and Kyosuke they've had a conversation. Like I don't
Oh
know,
yeah.
I just feel it in that panel where
Well,
they're
they're
just like,
healthy. They have a healthy
I
relationship.
I know, and
They're
I
like
love
old people.
it.
They're just old people. They found their people. They found their person.
They
They
did, and
found their person.
it's great. I love it.
And so then on to the next page, we have Nana crying.
Oh
She's
yeah.
crying because June is going to Tokyo and like having a full on meltdown about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so Kyosuke's going to, and so
Oh He's telling
then
me, like, oh, I'm going too. How are you throwing a fit about me? Like,
right, and so then Nana is begging Kyosuke not to go.
which is, I don't know.
Um,
I think that's so funny. She's like, oh,
right,
if you don't go, then June is not
right,
gonna go. So don't go.
right. And so then June is like, I would go anyway. And then she's like, yo, dude, it's my life. You're not the boss of me.
Mm-hmm.
And Nana uses that later,
Oh,
that
and
line, you're not the
it's
boss of me. She uses it later back at June.
yeah,
Um,
she no, it's a thing too. Again, she takes people's conversations into her lexicon and then she regurgitates later, but it's like new input information that she's just learning, and then she's like, apply new learning.
right, right. Um, and so then Nana says that she's sorry because it's true.
Mm.
And she admits that she'll be lonely and that she'll
Mm.
be more lonely than the day of her heartbreak.
She's so
And then she blames
codependent.
Nostradamus' prophecy and the demon lord.
Yes, that's all my
Um, and has it been the 4 months? How many months has it been? Oh my goodness. See, I guess Ella gives us time, like a time. She gives us time, but then like time moves so weird. It's its own universe of time.
it is, but time is a weird construct anyway, so
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So then they're sitting on the beach, Nana and Shoji says that he's thinking about going to school in Tokyo too. And
which
that maybe Nana can go with him. See, he offers for Nana to go with him.
he does, but I don't. Oh, I know we don't get a lot of time with Shoji. We don't really get to see inside of his head, but I kind of have sort of felt, especially on this reread, that when he's like, "I'm going to Tokyo too," I'm just like, "You're just going because Jun and Kyosuke are going." Like that's what it feels like to me.
I mean, I think that he was planning to go the whole time.
He didn't say anything. Dang.
Well, I think he was planning on going the whole time. Because if he was planning on going to university,
Hmm.
that's where you would go.
That's true. I don't know. It feels so out of the blue. That's my own headcanon. Like my friends are going, I'm going as well. But you're probably right. He probably was already planning on going.
Hey, well, and him and Kyosuke could have already been planning on those types of things and talking about it before even having Jun and Nana in the situation from the technical school.
Hmm.
And so then Nana starts looking at art schools in Tokyo as well.
Just throw
Because
herself into it.
hmm and so then they're talking about going to community college first and like suggesting all these different things for her and Kyosuke's like, why would you do that? And she goes, yo, dude, it's my life. You're not the boss of me. Like very aggressively with her finger pointed. Um and and June smacks her in the back of the head with a slipper.
She does.
Such a mom move.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm like, June is the mother. She's like, I'm gonna get that slipper and I'm gonna don't backtalk. No backtalking to your father.
And so Nana says that she just wants to go to Tokyo with them.
I
Um,
mean, does Nana even have any artistic?
we don't
Well,
know.
I don't know. Like I'm gonna say I guess no. That's just me personally. I don't think she has any art skills, but maybe I'm being unkind.
We just don't know. We just genuinely don't know. And honestly, like there's so many different aspects of like art school
True.
that it could be a myriad of things that she's trying to do. But
True.
she decides that this is what she's gonna try to do is she's gonna try to get into university. And so she does the thing where she gets like super, super, super into a thing. And she's got little signs on her wall that says no drinking, die, demon lord, move to Tokyo. And she's studying
Mm-hmm.
and dreaming about being in Tokyo because of the clothes, because of the shops, being able to get her hair done, you know, that stuff. Not even
Yeah.
like, we don't know what she does or what she studies, like at all.
No, just these art schools. And is it implied in the next one that she literally failed all of them?
Yeah, so they go and they visit the Tokyo Fine Art College.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're in Tokyo, see, here's the thing is her parents won't pay for community college.
Mm-hmm.
They'll only pay for university.
Mm.
Because they are different in Japan. They're not the same as they are here.
Right.
Um, and so they're all in Tokyo together and they're eating and um she's going on about being cursed because she didn't get into any of the schools that she applied for, and she applied for all of them.
Which is crazy to me. I'm like, what does the
It's really hard.
oh dang. I just
Sometimes people go to the technical prep colleges for several years in order to get into university. They'll just keep going until they get in.
oh, that's insane. Is it just like there's not enough slots or it's
No,
just
it's a higher it's if we're comparing it to the US education system, we have no discipline.
that's not true. I mean that's not untrue.
And like anybody can get into college here.
That is yeah, that is
If you
facts.
can pay, you can get in.
True.
It's not the same. But like it's also not everything is for everyone. And apparently Hachi is not meant for university.
Okay, yeah, that I will buy that. That is very true. Not
Right?
everyone has to go to college, guys.
But also if she's neurodivergent and it is a very holistic setup of education,
Oh yeah.
like that
Hmm.
could I'm just seriously leaning towards like she's got a spicy brain.
No, for sure. And that would mean that, like, well, these are our ways of studying, and she's like, that's not how,
My brain works,
yeah, that's not
right?
how my brain works.
Right, exactly. So she blames the demon lord,
Yes, as rightly she should.
right? And so then she's talking to them about the demon lord, and June yells at her and says, "Don't involve me in your weird cult." Um, because like just I love how it's just like she's so matter of fact. Just
Yeah.
it's the demon lord. That's it. That's it. That's everything, right?
Yes. That's
It's
how
like blaming everything on like space monster Saturn, you know?
yes,
Uh
yes.
so they decide, let's see. They want to get up early and go look for housing the next day. June and Kyosuke.
Hmm.
Um and so Shoji asks Nana, since they're already in Tokyo, do they want to like walk around and take a look around at stuff? And the other two go back to the hotel. Um And Nana's looking around and she feels like totally out of place, like she's a country girl. Which
Which she is.
kind of, I don't think that they actually live in the country, but it is the country. It's not Tokyo, right? It's not the city.
Yeah, that's probably
It's a
what,
town,
yeah. But maybe that's the
I would
definition of
say.
country, maybe in Japan. It's like if you don't live in Tokyo, you are a country bumpkin. I'm
But
just
June's parents are
speculating.
literally farmers and she's fine. Okay. So, like,
Maybe she's taken more trips to Tokyo than Nana has. Maybe Nana's never gone to Tokyo in her life.
right. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
It's not explained.
And so Shoji is like so in April, and suggests like staying back and maybe going to a local art school back home since she didn't get into university. And that implies like applying again, like I was talking about.
Hmm.
Um, and Nana says, but I want to move to Tokyo no matter what.
Like I have to do everything
And
right now. Got to do it right
exact
now.
right, yeah. Yeah, very very like first house headstrong, that type of
Hmm.
thing. And Shoji blames himself and says that it's his fault.
Yeah, Shoji. Sorry.
I mean, it kind of is.
It is.
And
I just
suggests that maybe she should stay back at home. It is. It's kind of his fault. He
yeah.
offered it. That's the problem. When you offer something to Nana, like that's it.
Yeah, there's no, you said this thing, now we can't renege on this thing because that's too many things and that's too complicated. Now there's too many things.
Right? And so then Shoji thinks to himself, do you need to be with Junko that much? And then
Maybe a little.
Nana says, but you're moving to Tokyo too, aren't you, Shoji?
Hmm. Well, he's gonna be.
And yeah, and so he explains that he's going to enroll in SAT school there, so he's going to go to a prep school for college because he did not get into the university that he wanted.
Is that, oh, so
Um,
that's what SAT is like you got to stay here and study.
SAT, like SAT test, like he's going to a prep like testing school
Oh, okay.
to study to get in. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, and so Nana says that she's still gonna move, and so she'll just work odd jobs and whatnot.
Hmm. Because
And
this is it.
right, and so Shoshi's like, "You're gonna die." Like it's just like you're gonna die. You can't do
Yeah.
that. You're gonna die.
Yeah, and but of course, Hachi's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not
Right.
that crazy. I can work, I can work, dude.
Right. And he's like, you need hundreds of thousands of yen just to get a
Hmm.
place. Like you're gonna be houseless.
Yeah.
Um, and explains that like she has to acknowledge that. And
Yeah.
so then she's like, then I'll go to SAT school too.
Yeah.
Um, and then maybe her parents will give her money. And he's like, don't go to SAT school for no reason. That's stupid. Right. She doesn't think about what the things she does is for.
It seems like she's trying to like problem solve the like you said that I can move to Tokyo like you offered, and now I'm trying to find contingency plans so I can do that because her brain is telling her she must, and every single thing that she's saying, Shoji's just shooting it down.
He's not shooting it down. I don't read it as him not shooting it down. I read it as it's like the way that he's explaining this in the first half of the panel is that they have been trying to explain this to her for a year.
Hmm. I wonder why it doesn't click. Maybe, I guess, because they're just
She's
in
not
this.
accepting it. She's not willing to see
Mm.
it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that is also a trait that
She's not looking at reality because she's never had to take care of herself.
true.
And that's a big part of it. It's the codependency aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then she automatically goes though into the emotional aspect of it. And so it can be read as emotionally manipulative, right? Which I don't think she is
No,
intentionally.
no, I don't think she is. Yeah, that's why I said that before. I'm just like, I think she's literally but just getting more and more frustrated as he's like, no, don't do that. That would be a terrible idea. Like, you need to do this. And she's just like, but okay, what about
Well,
this?
he never once says no.
Oh, well, he's like, what the hell? That's a terrible idea,
Well, yeah, because like she can't do it because she doesn't have the means because she's not thinking of the means, right? And
Hmm.
so it's like she's following everything he's planning on doing, but she hasn't actually made those plans herself. She doesn't have any stability to do it. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of following the leader.
Exactly, because the codependency, right?
Yeah, yeah, codependency.
And then she automatically goes into the emotional stuff of won't you miss me? And he loses it. I mean, and I honestly don't blame him for losing it. I mean, there are better ways to do it, sure, but they are 18. And if he's been having this conversation with her for who knows how long at this point, and
Hmm.
she's just not listening, like she's not willing to see reality, right?
Hmm.
He yells that he'll be liberated, which honestly, like, I kind of get it.
Then, okay, yeah, I mean, I get it too. At the same time, like things that like happen later, shouldn't this have kind of been the point where Shoji maybe just was like, I'm I'm kind of done. Like, I'm done.
But I
And
think that in a way, he's not done. He's just frustrated. Haven't you ever been so frustrated trying to re explain yourself over and over to someone and they're just not listening to you?
Uh, yeah, but I think my fuck it done button is a lot closer sometimes
Mhm.
to me. And also I don't get a lot of opportunities to explain things to people like, okay, that might be dangerous for you, because when I have in the past, I have gotten a lot of really hellish backlash, and I sound mean when I
Right.
say things.
Well, that's the thing. Exactly. He's exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's obvious that he's exhausted.
True.
Right? Why does she get all of the leniency in spinning out and being emotional and being over the top and being able to express herself in breakdowns?
Yeah.
But he gets painted in a light that it's unacceptable.
No. Like I mean I don't know. Like I would if I was Shoji, I guess I'd be done at this point. But that's a me
Right.
read.
But like this is also like what he's trying to do in a way because he says what am I to you anyways?
Mm-hmm.
You love it, don't you? Playing my feelings by getting all teary-eyed and saying things to get me stoked. You just want a guy nearby who you're only nice to when it's convenient. So he ends up walking away and leaving her.
Which you know.
And then she's like, she has to get back to the hotel. She doesn't know what to do. See, I also think this is a faded expression, right? Because like she's standing there and then she hears her name and she sees some dress shoes and a tie and she realizes this is where old man lives, which I think is faded, right? This is the
Yeah.
closure that she needed,
Yes. Yes.
right? And so in a way, the demon lord is like shining on her. Like, I'm sorry, I've been giving you hell. Here's this thing so that your broken heart can actually heal, right?
Right.
And so he's like, I thought it was you. What's wrong? Because she's fucking crying. Okay, so
Mhm.
how many times did they hang out in the brief times that they hung out? Did she not cry?
Yeah. I
And
don't
he's
know.
asking, what are you doing here? And she's like, he found me in this crowded city. And then it's Kyosuke, and he says, it's over. and and so we're in the hotel room with Jun, Shoji, and Kyosuke. And Shoji is explaining what happened and that she was driving him crazy and he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is fucking valid. I think that it's valid. I do. June points it out. I understand why you did or why you lost it. Of course you would.
Yeah, but
But
you
I
ditched
can't
her.
believe you just ditched her in the middle of the city like that. See, that's the part, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
could have still lost his shit and then he could have been like, "Come on, let's go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
I'll walk you back. I need a break." Right?
Mm-hmm.
But like honestly, if you're mad, I don't know, and your brain's not done developing and you don't have emotional maturity, like
I'm
could have been
storming
worse.
away. Yeah. Storming away. It doesn't work if you come with me. So,
Right?
yeah.
Well, and Kyosuke says, well, at least like the streets are very lit up and there's a lot of people because it's Tokyo.
I mean, he's right, but also sex trafficking, my dude.
Right. Right. Um and so June points out to Shoji that Nana's in love with him. And he's like, "What? Yeah, right." And then June is like, "Before you write her off, you better think hard about how much you hurt Nana, who loves you, by treating her the way you did." Slam. And I'm just like, "Yeah, but also like she's been kind of like fucking around with his head for a year." And so then Shoji's sitting there and he's like, I sort of thought so.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm with Kyosuke. He's like, whatever, dude. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, whatever.
Right?
Yeah, it's like, did you
Um,
really think that
well,
though?
no, yeah, Kyosuke's like, if Junko says it's true, it is true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, like, it's Junko. Like, of course. She's the level-headed one. That's why she has Junko's corner. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, and so Junko already left to go look for Nana. Now Shoji goes to look for Nana. And Kyosuke's just sitting there and he says, a clueless search party. What a
Yeah.
crazy crew. Because they like straight up leave. Like they just leave to go look for her. Like not knowing what to do, where to go. And then there's Nana sitting in a fancy restaurant with old man.
Yeah.
And talking about what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about why she's in Tokyo, yada yada. And then she automatically goes to the defense. she automatically says, me coming to Tokyo has nothing to do with you. I'm not
Yeah.
stalking you or anything. Don't worry about it. And he chuckles and says that she hasn't changed at all. And she freaks out. And
She's like, but I changed my hair. What are you talking about? I changed my
right,
hair.
right, right. I have different hair.
Yeah, therefore I'm a
And
completely
she's
different human
embarrassed
being.
because of how she's dressed, that she's not dressed more maturely. Um, and
Which,
he says that he likes it because it's her.
yeah, which I'm like, but what do you mean more mature? That's a cute outfit you're wearing.
Right. And so then he clarifies that the way she talks hasn't changed at all. And then he quotes things. It's not like I'm chasing you. I'm not going to stalk you or anything. Don't worry. And then she gets embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
So like this part, going into this part though, this is the closure that she's been needing.
Yeah, and he is saying like, when we were together, like each time it was hard because he would say stuff like that, and then she asks the question that I'm sure everyone reading is thinking the same, same thing. She's like, "Why?" And then he's just silent.
Right. Well, yeah, because she would always say the same thing.
Hmm.
And he says that it was really hard.
Hmm.
And like that's important because like it now gives him emotion.
Yeah.
Um which is something the way that they're sitting there, I don't know if she saw that in him before.
I mean, I don't know if she really got a chance to because, like, how much chance can you get when you're just going to hotel rooms?
Absolutely. Also, though, she doesn't see people as humans. Okay? So like this is like she's seeing his humanity,
Yeah.
right? She was so focused on her love that I don't think it would have really mattered who it was with.
Hmm. Hyperfixation.
Mhm. And then she goes on to say that he hasn't changed at all either, and that every time that she would ask him what's wrong, he wouldn't say anything.
Hmm. Right? He didn't, and apparently he didn't realize that was something he
Mm.
did. He's like, oh, all right, I guess I should work on that.
And she realizes that, she thought that she couldn't stand him, but after seeing him again, she can't hate him anymore.
Which is good.
And that now she has to believe that what those feelings were and what they had was real. So she's not in denial about it. So that is the closure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's allowing herself to admit to herself that she really did love him and that he did love her back
Mm-hmm.
in the way that he could,
Right.
and that she has to accept it and that she can't beat herself up over it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then he gives her directions to get back to the hotel, and then a coworker walks up and
Oh no.
is like, "Who's this girl with you? I might have to tell your pretty little wife." Ha 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 ha! Chuckle. And dude says, I guess I'll have to take you out to dinner, like bro talk, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
and Nana's really automatically like, well, oh, but wait a minute.
why didn't you come up with like an excuse? And
Yeah.
he was like, if he makes an excuse, it'll look worse,
Mm-hmm.
which is true.
Which is, yeah, that's very true. But I don't think that's how, does Nana even take it like that? She's like, or is there really something else going
Right,
on?
exactly. No, because like, but she always goes like this is, I think, one of the first times that we see she doesn't yell demon lord, but this look on her face does show up more throughout the comic, and it's whenever like she puts on her tinfoil hat.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
she totally does. Because she like paints these scenarios in her head where she's like,
Yes. Yeah, she's like something else is
there's a
like,
conspiracy theory.
yeah, she's already like, oh, he's so smooth. Okay, he totally cheats all the time. Yep.
Right?
Tinfoil
Yep.
hat.
Tinfoil hat. And so then she says, "Oh, so that is your real name."
He's just shocked.
Right?
Huh? I was just thinking out loud, says Nana, and then she
Right.
says she should go.
Right. Well, and the looks on their faces though, like that's the closure looks, right?
Hmm.
And that's where she gets like that issue, oh, he really did care about me.
Hmm.
Like he's not a total dirtbag.
Right. And then immediately is
Uh-huh.
like, no more cheating. And the next
Right.
girl just staring him down, pointing her finger at him, all dramatic.
And then she admits that she really did love him
Hmm.
and says goodbye and runs away
Hmm.
and has closure,
And then he disappears into the crowd.
right? And then Kyosuke calls her and
And
um
yeah, he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. So they found you?" And Nana's like, "Who, who's who?" And I almost wonder if she thinks that he knows about,
no, I
like,
think she does.
yeah,
I
like,
really do like because she just like because he did find her,
mhm.
right? Just not Shoji.
Yeah. She's like, "Wait, who are you talking about? How do you know that Takashi found
Well, it
me?"
says even in the next panel in the next page, she says I'm near the hotel, I'm outside there, and then in the little like the word thought part, it says,
Mm,
"You freaked me out. I thought you meant
yeah,
Takashi."
Takashi. Yeah, like, which honestly,
Um,
I'd be thinking same if someone had been like, "Oh, he found you."
right, exactly, exactly. So Kyusuke explains that like Jun and Shoji went to go look for her like an hour ago. So like right after he got to the hotel. So pretty much the whole time that
Yeah.
she was with Takashi. Um
It's like a while. They were in that restaurant for a while, I think.
yeah, I mean, yeah, probably that hour, right?
Yeah.
Which I mean would make sense.
Hmm.
She explains that she's okay and and he says you don't have to apologize or
Hmm.
cry to me. It's all right. Shoji is just in love with you. And she goes, yeah, right. I am right. And you know it, he says. Because she didn't even know.
She
Even
didn't
though,
even know.
but it also hasn't been a secret.
Well, I suppose. I don't know. Again, social cues. She's really bad at picking up
Right, but it's a
whatever.
lot of fucking time. Like, it was like a year. It's been a year. It's been a year. That is
Are
a
you,
slow burn.
yeah. Are you trying to say you wouldn't be that oblivious? Like if it was
Actually,
you?
I was friends with someone for like years and I never knew they were in love with me.
See, you get it.
Yeah, but but like nobody knew.
Oh, okay, that's different.
See? Nobody knew. No
No,
one. No
man,
one.
that person kept that under wraps. Wow.
Mhm, exactly.
Hmm. How'd you find
So,
out? Sorry, it's like a segue. I
how
gotta
did you find
know.
out?
I gotta know now. Like, wait, how did you find out?
After he got a partner, it actually just slowly started to dawn on me.
Oh.
And I met the partner and I was like, why are they kind of weird towards me? And then I was like, oh, whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Mm.
then like I started thinking back on our whole friendship and I was like, oh, 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 that was there the whole time.
Mm.
I'm an asshole.
Oh.
Um, so on the phone with Kyosuke, and Nana's like, I wonder where Shoji is now. And he's like, who knows? But he's probably not far. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, but now you should just get back to the hotel, and she hangs up on him.
Mm-hmm. Then June comes bursting in. I can't find her. I better call her phone instead. And he's like, so you finally figured that out.
Like, did she leave her phone in the hotel room
They
though?
didn't call her.
They didn't call her. No, they just. Oh,
And
that's
this is
right.
also the late 90s. So, but I mean, phones were more prolific in Japan, even in the late 90s, than they were here.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then we're right back into Nana's head,
Yep,
and
and
she
she realizes she's always been in love with Shoji
always been in love with Shoji.
from the moment that she first saw him.
Ah, basic boy.
I thought he was so fine.
But
But
she
she was
was.
still recovering. See, she needed
Yeah.
that closure. So there's the closure. I still think she was not nice. I know she needed the closure, but I'm sorry. She messed with
Okay.
his head. She messed with his head.
Uh, I don't think she did, but that's my takeaway. I'm just like, I think she's just totally oblivious and did not pick up on anything at all. But that's just
She
me.
doesn't pick up on anything. But like here she has this moment of like clarity and maturity, like, oh, the clouds have parted and I can think. And you know, she knows she couldn't have had a good relationship.
That's kind of, I think I wrote down this thing that's something I had actually thought about a while ago. Was I always kind of felt like Shoji was kind of maybe pushing her in the direction of the relationship, but this was during the time of her like trying to figure stuff out, and I'm like, that's feels like you're putting a lot of effort.
I also
Um,
feel though that June kind of laid that groundwork.
yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because like it is also what Nana claimed that she wanted. Maybe
Yeah.
not with Shoji, but in general.
Hmm.
And June wanting to be a friend was like, well, I would rather have it be with this person who will care for you than someone that we won't know if they will.
True.
But I feel like she's just too dependent.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't even allow herself to make her own decisions. She
Yeah.
doesn't think them through.
No, it's impulsivity. And I will never not agree with that, that she's very codependent, and that codependency is, if you're any type of a independent person, it is frustrating to
Hmm.
read.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably where it comes from. I'm just like,
Yeah.
God, like I love you. I love you so much. Just shut up. Please. Please. Um, so she's like crying and running, and she runs into Shoji, and he's like, "What's with that face?" And he's like, "I'm sorry about earlier. I went too far. Let's not worry about it." And then she gets like this like intense angry face.
Mhm. I think it's because when she was running around and just like looking for Shoji, maybe she had this idea in her head like that they were gonna fall into each other's arms, and then he's just like, "Hey," she's like, "Why aren't you like rushing to embrace me?"
Right? But like also at the same time, um the whole like let's not worry about it. It's like no, we need to talk about this.
No, that's true. They do need to talk about it.
Mhm. And then we notice there's a number 7. They have to go to floor 7. They go to room 707 of this hotel. Um,
Nana's not for this. She's like, I don't want to.
right. It's not working. She's like hitting the button a whole bunch of times because 7 is bad luck because of uh, her name is 7 because of Nostradamus' prophecy because of the demon lord.
Because of Demon Lord. Hmm.
And so Shoji's thinking to himself, maybe it's is this Shoji who's thinking this? Maybe it's just too late for the two of for us to
I
date now.
I think that's Hachi thinking that.
Okay. And so then June says, "Welcome back," and then hands Nana her bag, says goodnight, and closes the door on her.
Yeah.
And they go to room 707.
Yeah, like she's
And
that
she is
face.
freaking out. She is freaking out.
Oh, that face that June has there is so like, I'm exhausted. Go the fuck to sleep, because I'm gonna go the fuck to sleep.
Right? And so she's talking to herself, "Oh, please no." Like about the room number. And Shoji's like, "Why are you talking to yourself? You're scaring me." And she said she wasn't talking to herself. She was talking to the demon lord. And he's like, "That's even scarier."
He's like, that's so much worse than you just talking to yourself.
Oh my god. I'm,
Uh,
I mean, I love the demon lord. I'm not even I love it. I've always loved it.
I do too. I mostly just love it like for her, and I don't know, like again, the separate friend group later, like no one seems to really question the Demon Lord thing. They're just like, this is a Nana quirk.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Well, like that's the thing is that's something that is really beautiful about her friendships is
Mhm.
they love her and accept her for exactly how she is.
Yeah, and that's super great. Even though
Um,
Kirsten is hating on Nana right now.
I am, but like, I don't hate her. I'm just like, girl, get it together. Like, just get it fucking together.
Frustrated at you.
So Shoji says he's exhausted.
Yeah, because he's running around, because it's a pain in the ass.
And Nana's like, look who's talking. You're the one that ditched me.
Which is true.
Yeah, but she got closure. And she hasn't even told anybody.
Well, maybe that's okay.
Yeah, and no, actually I'm surprised and I'm happy that she's keeping it to herself.
Mm-hmm. This is mine. This is mine. Let me have this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's
so
really
now she's
nice.
wondering why they're being mean to each other.
Which should be kind of this is just me. This should be a clue that maybe the relationship might not be super great.
I mean, the thing is, though, is this also happens, right? This happens in relationships, and this is where communication is needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like corrects herself, and she's like, "I should be nice to the guy I like. I hate this." And I
Mm-hmm.
think that everybody in every relationship has felt that at some time.
Um, y- I would say yes, but okay, yeah. Sorry, I had to leaf through my brain to find the relationship that I thought that about.
Right. Well, and I mean, like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be exactly those words. It can just be, "I'm frustrated with this. I don't like
Yeah.
this." You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And needing to learn how to navigate communicating that. And they're
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
I see this as them trying to figure out what is going on, right? Because he pushed back. He set a boundary, or at least tried to without knowing what boundaries are. And so, and they haven't talked about it,
No.
right? And so she's in her head about them not talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see here though that she's giving up,
Yeah.
um, and noticing that he's not even nervous, and that he just seems bored. But we don't know what's in his head. We get her dialogue. We don't get his dialogue.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Hey Nana, I really want to move to Tokyo and take you with me."
At least he broke the silence.
He broke the silence. I think "take you with me," but then again, that's also like kind of what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right? Is because she wants to be of service, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, but he's explaining like the real life stuff again, the stuff that she couldn't understand in their conversation before she had her closure moment with Takashi, in
Mm-hmm.
that he has to get his life together. Like there are
Yeah.
all these things in order to survive that need to happen.
Yeah.
And he's not even there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains that if she was houseless and dying, there wouldn't be anything that he could do. And that's what he was worried about. And that's why he was triggered and had the reaction he had.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Because
at least
she wasn't thinking about that for herself.
no.
But he was.
I mean, at least he's saying it now because he didn't then. But then again, he was much more upset.
Angry.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was
angry.
mad. He's having a
Right?
moment.
And he
Yeah.
asks her to understand.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, I think he was valid.
True.
He was just reactive.
Mm-hmm. But you
But
said they're the same person.
they're the same person and they're 18 years old.
So, that's a thing. So reaction gets reaction.
Right. Well, and I mean, then she says, like, now she actually has a plan that makes sense. She'll stay home and she'll work and she'll save up money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
now this is productive,
Yes.
right? He needed to fucking, like, put his foot down and she needed to go get closure. They
Yeah.
both got a thing out of it,
Yeah.
right? They both got a good thing out of it, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so then next year she'll get into college. Blah blah blah.
True.
Blah blah blah. They work it out.
They work it out, and Shoji says, that he's gonna get into college and watch out, Demon Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Which is cool because it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. You're rolling with it, and that's nice.
Right. And so right,
It gets
we get to,
weird.
and then it gets weird, and then it gets weird. Um,
Oh man, like just we're having this lovely moment of all the things, and then Shoji is automatically just like, okay, cool, we've made up. Would you like to do it now?
we can do it now.
We can do it now. And I'm like,
There wasn't even like a question.
yeah. Wait. Uh, and I
Right?
don't see all those this part does bother me too. I'm just like, I can't flip my brain like that. But that I don't know. Could you flip your brain like that if you were having this serious conversation about like life decisions, what we're gonna do, and then someone looks at you and
They
you're like,
haven't even kissed.
yeah. I mean, that's a part. That's also a factor.
And he's also been pining over her for like a year. And also, how serious is he?
Yeah,
Right?
maybe a little serious
I
because
like
he.
a little, like a not. I don't think he's 100% serious.
Oh, okay, because he did get all butthurt about we can't sleep in the same bed together.
Like that was like how many months ago?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Time.
Yep, exactly. It was a while ago though.
Yeah.
Um, so and then he says, if you don't wanna, we don't have to. I'm used to holding back. See, I don't like that part. He gets pouty about it, and I think that that's messed up.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah, that's kind of gross.
and she's like, doesn't he know about getting in the mood?
Exactly. That's where I'm at with it. I'm just like, that was quite a flip. Like, maybe some foreplay, please.
Right. Well, no, I think I think that part's yucky. I think that part is yucky.
Yeah. Oh, well, then he gets more pouty about it.
Right? He gets kind of
Yeah.
smug about it too. And then she's like, maybe if you could even say I love you, I'd do it. And he's like, love, excuse me. And he's like, as if the word means anything, but he is like blushing hard.
Yeah, but I also like how she's laying down that demand. He's just like, well, if he's gonna get pouty, she's like, okay, cool, but maybe if you'd say I love you.
Right, but I also feel like at this point they're like literally, since they're the same person, they're like matching energy and giving each other a hard time.
Hmm.
Like this is their way of making up, is giving each other shit.
Okay, because I'm just like, okay, that makes it feel better because otherwise I'm just like, this is.
Oh, I really do think they're the same person. I really do. I
Yeah.
do. So I just feel like this whole conversation, they're matching energy.
Mm-hmm.
They like literally pout at each other. They literally like get weird with each other. Like, I think the words are weird. I think that it's like, how do we interpret this if they're a couple in a hotel room together and we're spying on them
Right.
and we don't have any tone?
True.
Um,
But he does say it's like if that word means anything, to which I'm always well, that's just me. I'm just like, oh, but I love you is a fantastic word.
right?
How dare you?
And then she says that no one has ever said it to her.
Hmm. Not since the day she was born, and I'm like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true.
Oh, you think she's she's telling a
I
lie?
think she's exaggerating.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Because when we meet her parents, it's like, really? Not once?
Right. No, her mom is so sweet. Her
Yeah.
sister is so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But her sister is her mom. Like they're the
Yeah.
same, yeah, carbon copy of each other. And then she's like, just forget it. And he's like, all right, I get it. And he's like, but I'm a dude. I'll say it. I'll just have to pretend I'm someone else, like a sensitive guy. And she's like, what? And this part's actually really cute. Um, and he's like, I'm supposed to pretend I'm doing it with someone else. I don't
Yeah.
wanna unless it's with you, weirdo. Right? Like,
Yeah.
but the expressions on their face is what explains that they're literally like just like throwing shade back and forth at each other.
Throw it out
Um,
there.
but he says that he's like, and she straight up is just like, I don't want to be with someone if it's not you. Like, she doesn't want to be with someone who's even pretending not to be him. Like, she wants to be with him. And she's like, I'm gonna make some tea. Would you want sensitive guy green or roasted tea?
Which I think is very funny.
Because they're literally just throwing shade at each other. Right? Like, they're throwing tea, roasted tea. I mean, that's hilarious. Sensitive guy green.
Sensitive guy green.
Right. And so, but his expression completely shifts, and he gets up and he hugs her and kisses her on the forehead. Okay, that's really fucking sweet.
I mean, we love a forehead kiss.
We love a forehead kiss.
Still could have.
And then she's crying because, of course, she's crying
Mm-hmm.
because she cries like 50% of the manga.
I mean, honestly, same. Like, just
Right, same. I cried when I was like reading last night, I started crying thinking of like later fucking chapters.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Yes, there's the fact that like just 90% of this, I'm gonna cry, and also in real life, I cry 90% of the time. So
See, and then this part, because she says, I heard it. Your heart told me you loved me. And he says, I guess you heard it then.
yeah.
See, that is cute. That is cute. And then we have a flashback.
Yeah.
About how she lost her V card when she was 17 to old man.
Mm-hmm.
And learned that men aren't really simple. And like her ideas of romance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And wanting something like a romantic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're doing it.
Yeah, and honestly, because it's me and I'm a hypersexual person, those are always my favorite panels. Always. So I'm like, ooh, kissy scene. Yay.
And so, like, she thought that she wanted something that was really simple, and then she realizes that she might not.
Yeah. Which is interesting to say, I guess, because I always feel that like happiness should be easy and simple, and I'm just like, why would you want complicated? But maybe that's
Right.
not what she means.
I think that she means depth.
Oh,
Not
okay.
dramatic like the movies, but something real.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay,
Because she did want something dramatic like the movies.
yeah.
And then she realized that that's not what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
She wants depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then there's more of a scene of them doing it. And and Junko is in the corner panel drinking a beer, and she's like, I hope everything worked out with those two. I'm worried.
Yeah, she's like, oh, talking to herself, kind of.
Right? No, she's actually she like actually is. You go to the next page and she is talking to herself, and then she's like, and Kyosuke is asleep, and she's like, don't make me sit here and talk to myself.
Yeah. And okay, it's a side panel, but I fucking hate these bathrobes.
The bathrobes? Oh,
The robes they're
yeah.
wearing. I know. Okay, they're probably not bathrobes, but you know what I mean. Like when I look at them, I think bathrobe because like slippers. But
Yeah, they're robes. They're hotel
yeah,
robes.
they are. I don't. I just don't. I think it's just for I don't know. The thought of getting into a bed in a robe and getting like stuck in the robe, like
Mm.
makes me panic. So when
Yeah.
she's like climbing into the bed, I'm like, June, no,
Don't
no.
wear it.
Don't wear it. You're gonna get knotted up, and then you're gonna want to like stick your foot out of the bed, and it's gonna be a mess.
I don't think they're that long. I think it's okay.
Sorry, that was a side tangent, but I'm just stressed about her.
I'm like, the
sleep.
robes.
The rope she's sleeping in, she's getting tangled
She's
up, and I'm
going
just
to
worried.
strangle herself.
Yes,
I
but
mean,
again,
yeah, but they also tie. It's not a nightgown. And
I know.
it's not like a bathrobe. They're like silk robes.
Like silk robes. Oh, okay, that makes it better. In my head, they were that heavy.
No, they're not. They're not towel material.
Okay, okay, that makes it better. In my
Okay,
head,
good. Okay, good.
they've always been.
We've saved the rope.
Yes.
So we go into the next page. They're off in Tokyo. Nana is back at home. She explains that they're in a long distance relationship, or she says, but it's a long distance relationship to herself. Some guy is complaining about she's working in the video store. Okay.
Yes.
Now the video store guy owner was one of her crushes. The one with the baby bangs. He had the baby bangs.
Yeah.
Right? They're a little longer now. His bangs are a little longer now, by the way. And he asks her out. And she's like, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, but he like turned her down the first time.
Exactly. Well, he points that out. He's like, you used to like me. And she's like, I have a boyfriend. Like, but he doesn't take no for an answer right away. And so she's like, probably have to quit. But they pay well. So, because she's saving up to go to Tokyo. So she leaves work while she's thinking, I probably need to quit this job, but it pays really well. And then Shoji calls her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a flashback. She's 19 years old now, in a relationship, but long distance. Just you wait and see, Demon Lord.
Yeah. And
then the next chapter, which we'll do next week.
Yeah.
The next chapter introduced Nana-O.
Yes.
I think we can wrap this up.
Yes. Yeah.
If you made it all the way through this, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And by the time that this is released, we should have like the Instagram up and going, possibly maybe be able to join our Discord chat so that you can come and tell us your opinions.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting.
Right? Like, don't be mean if you hate my opinion. Be nice to me, please.
Yeah.
I will pretend to be fragile.
Oh man, be nice to me because I think of the two, I'm the
right.
I'm the one whose feelings get more easily hurt.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will talk at you next week.
We will. So yes, I have been Crystal,
and I'm Kirsten.
And this is Nanopod.
This is Nanopod. Thanks for joining us. Good night. Goodbye.
Good day.
Goodbye forever. Praise the Demon Lord.
Yes, praise the Demon Lord.